Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, thank you very much for coming to this morning's session. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Adele, and I'm the Events and Training Manager at Clear UK and Ireland. Now, Clear brings together cruise lines, travel agents, and associated travel partners, and we are here really to help promote cruise holidays within the UK and Ireland. We have more than 60 ocean and river cruise lines in membership, and we work really closely with them to help raise awareness of the industry among the travel trade. Clear UK and Ireland has over 1,700 registered travel agent members, and we undertake training, promotion and networking activities with them. And everything's designed to help keep them informed and best placed to take advantage of every opportunity to increase cruise sales. And earlier this year, Clear UK and Ireland became the first organisation for our excellent training to be recognised by the world's leading vocational training company, City & Guilds. And the cruise industry has come an unbelievably long way in the past decade. UK passengers have more than doubled since 2002 to 1.7 million in 2012. And globally, last year, there were over 20 million passengers. And from just under 4% of UK foreign package holiday sales in 2002, cruise holidays accounted for almost 12% in 2012. The industry supports almost 70,000 jobs here in the UK as well, and there are 20 new cruise ships under construction in Europe's shipyards, with a combined capacity of around 60,000 passengers. And social media, the topic of today's session, is increasingly played a part in this growth, both in building awareness and in engagement with customers, plus agents, and ultimately in driving new bookings. At Clear UK and Ireland, our social media channels play an increasingly vital part in our communications, both to agents and the travelling public. We've almost 3,000 followers on Twitter and a rapidly growing community on Facebook too. We actively encourage input from our travel agents and cruise line members by the way of blogs. We use video and pictures to help tell the cruise story. And we utilise social media to further educate and train travel agents in any news and features around cruise. With me today are representatives from our member cruise lines, Disney and Carnival, along with the creative industry designate, and we'll also hear briefly from MSC Cruises. Ginger Taggart, the Executive Director Marketing UK Disney Destinations International and Disney Cruise Line, and Erin Johnson from Carnival Cruise Lines will be telling us about the role of social media and how it's played a part in the growth of their companies. Whilst Dean Harvey, who leads digital development at Designate, will be looking more widely at social media and the role that it's playing in the growth of the cruise industry as a whole. So without further ado, Ginger, it's over to you.
Good morning and welcome. Thank you for joining us. Today we wanted to talk through the rise of social media and how we use that as a new avenue to communicate with our consumers and guests. So we hear a lot in social media about the different platforms, about different statistics, and what we really wanted to share today was move beyond the statistics. So while we do use social media and are very strong across multiple channels, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or blogs, we have over 40 million fans across our Facebook channels for all of our destinations for Disney. It all comes out that this is an avenue and a way for us to connect with our consumer and our guest. And at the end, it's all about using that most effective form of communication to develop the most compelling content. So at Disney, the heart of our essence and our brand is about storytelling and bringing entertainment and that delightful story through everything to all of our guests. And so what I want to do today is show a variety of different content that we've developed in that vein through social media for our destinations. So first we want to highlight one of our latest social media success, highlighting some of the news on our latest cruise enhancement. So our maiden ship, the Disney Magic, has just been reimagined, has all new spaces, and we use social media to really connect and get some of this news out to our consumers and guests. Also wanted to highlight another example from Disney Cruise Line that was in the market last year, as well as a couple highlights from our other Disney destinations, and also how we can think of social media proactively through all of our partners to come together and connect in story to our guests and fans. So, moving forward to the Disney Magic. We've just reimagined the ship, and within it is some of the most imaginative, compelling content at sea, particularly in our children's programs. So we've taken the franchise of Avengers and created a whole new Avengers Academy for our little sailors, for kids at sea, where people can come in and become superheroes. So we wanted to create this compelling, creative content through social media. And we reached out to our fans and invited them to send in pictures of their little superheroes at home, their little Avengers, and their best action hero poses that we would then pick one per week and highlight it, put that into the world of the Avengers, just like children will be immersed when they come on board the Disney Magic, and we would post those on social media. So over here you see a highlight of some of our best action hero poses and how we've converted those then into the world of Avengers. So this had quite a big of a pickup and following. It was a creative way and compelling content for our guests to really immerse themselves into this new area and get our messaging out. As you can see as well, some of our other superheroes and pictures of kids that were submitted. Something else that we did recently, last January, was actually work with our partner Designate and create a whole microsite called Discover Disney Time. And it was a way that we could really engage with all of our trade partners. We had customized sites built, and our consumers to really let them know all the differentiators that make up a Disney Cruise Line holiday. So from specific content about families, kids, adults, to our itineraries, we were able to really immerse in a whole new way of digital content. And then obviously through social sharing, we were enabled to let all of the consumers send virtual postcards to friends and families' Facebook pages about their dream Disney Cruise Line holiday or upcoming voyage. So really a way to take content and encourage that sharing. Some additional Disney best practices. We actually created recently a Goofy's Guide on Facebook for Walt Disney World. So for our property there, 47 square miles, theme park content the size of Manhattan, there's a lot to do and a lot of ways to really engage our families and guests. And what we wanted to do is really try and make that vacation as memorable and personalized as possible. So we invited people on Facebook to submit the list of all of their families, composition, ages, what they love to do, entertainment, shows, attractions, thrills, and really create customized itineraries with their own Facebook picture and profile that they could then post on their wall and share their virtual vacation. So we'll share a little bit of an overview of what some of the creative looked like. Oh, could we have sound as well? Thanks. So from our 4 theme parks, our 2 water parks, and nighttime entertainment, people could create their customized itineraries. On the suitcase that you showed, their Facebook profile was pulled in, so they had their personalized holiday already prepared for them in a suitcase that they could post on Facebook and share with their friends. So this proved quite a bit of popular take-up amongst our guests and consumers. As you can see, we had support through all of our trade partners, postings across different Disney sites, really pulling in our full fan base across the Disney company and all of our valued trade partners. Again, you can see different examples of engagement and promotion. Moving on to Disneyland Paris, we wanted to do something special for the 20th anniversary. So we created a mobile application that would really created that kind of sense of anticipation. Once a guest and consumer has booked a holiday, we want them to be excited about it before they even step foot in our destinations or on our cruise ships. So we created an app that I think the most compelling component was a countdown to their holiday. They put in the date and they would get a countdown for kids. How many sleeps until I get to go to Disney? What are, how many hours and seconds, and how can I build this excitement of the holiday we have just purchased? Things that games to get them excited about the content, as well as different tips to help them plan the overall holiday. We had helpful information as well, from character dining and add-ons that could be purchased to the holiday, to weather tips, useful French phrases, and then as well, the day of their holiday, we had a very special video that they were able to enjoy themselves as a kickoff, but also socially share. And this was all customized. So they would put in their name, they would upload a picture, and they would have a very customizable greeting from their friend Mickey, who is waiting to see them.
That's great. Thanks. Oh boy, I can hardly wait. Say, looks like an important message just came in.
And this would have the guest name on the envelope.
I wonder if it's the news we've been expecting. Oh yes, a very special guest is coming to visit us soon at Disneyland Paris.
Gosh, I think everybody's really excited to see ya. Right, gang? Come on, everybody in position.
Wow, look, your favorite characters are preparing for your visit.
Quit goofing off, will ya?
I wonder what's happening behind here. Let's take a look.
Yup, everything's ready and waiting for ya.
We look forward to seeing you soon at Disneyland Paris.
So on the banner would be the guest names, and on each of the flagpoles would be the picture that they had uploaded. So again, a very personalized way that we can use social media, compelling content for sharing to really engage the excitement pre-departure. And then obviously when they come back, to help them relive those lifelong memories. The last key point I wanted to touch on is the ability to use social media, not just for a company's compelling engagement with the consumers and guests, but for a way to make a broader impact in our industry, to reach out to our partners and collectively create compelling content and promotions. So this is a promotion that we worked on together with P&O for Disneyland Paris. We had a couple objectives. Basically, we wanted to really celebrate the fan base across Facebook for each of our brands. We wanted to be able to engage them in compelling video. So we all know historically brands have invested very heavily in TV for the way to really get that video kind of sensory experience and really showcase the brand. And digitally, via social media, it enables us to do that very easily, but with an even more of a customizable level. And that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to run a competition, share information about our brand. So different questions about P&O, about Disneyland Paris were posted, and it was amazing the amount of fan content. People were sharing their best memories, their favorite attractions, really just they created their own community about sharing different content with it. And then what we wanted to do is actually virtually take all of the winners, not just the grand prize winner, to Disneyland Paris and engage them in a virtual holiday. So these are just some of the comments that we got back, fans coming back and saying, absolutely fantastic, I feel like I've been immersed in the magic, thanks for making my day, what a great way, I just saw my picture of the video, I can't wait to realize what I've won. And then we have a quick recap video to really show how we creatively thought about, in a very new way, bringing the guests and announcing the winners at the same time showing our joint content. So by taking these boards and really announcing the winners on the scene, we were able to customize as well their preferences. So if through their entries they had said Donald Duck was their favorite character, we would take the winner, pull their Facebook profile, and actually release the board and announce them with Donald Duck. Or if Big Thunder Mountain was their favorite attraction, we were really able to customize the experience and showcase the winners, and had really great feedback. People saying, wow, I feel like I've just been on a virtual holiday. I can't wait to book for real. So this way to really, how do we think about social as a way to engage so much more creatively, entertainment, and what's the story that we can tell through social media to really connect with each of our guests? So with that and some more industry examples, I'd like to turn it over to Erin.
By the way, so I do apologise. We have changed the lineup ever so slightly, and that's because we wanted to hear from one of our other cruise line members. We have Valentino Iorio in the audience from MSC, and he's going to briefly tell us how social media has been used to promote an individual event. We heard some fantastic things from Disney, how it encompassed the whole of their branding, and this time we want to hear from MSC. So thank you, Valentino.
I'm going to introduce you how we use the social media for our MSC Preziosa christening. First of all, we use this big brand event focus on social media in order to increase all the international brand communication. We leveraged on the MSC Preziosa christening with specific content activities on selected social media channels. In fact, we used Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The main activities that we did on Facebook were the daily posts of video, dedicated video, specific video, and photos of MSC Preziosa. And we had the competition on Facebook, and we started to engage with our existing fans. The results of these activities were that more than 600,000 people saw a story about MSC Preziosa and the christening. We had, after the christening, after 2 weeks of the christening, more than 300,000 views of the videos on our Facebook page. Our key actions on Twitter was, first of all, engage with our bloggers that we invited on board, with our followers. And another key action was the live tweet, using our official hashtag MSC Preziosa. Thanks to this engagement with our audience and bloggers' audience, we have reached more than 200,000 accounts with the hashtag MSC Preziosa. We had more than 1,600 mentions with our Twitter accounts, and we had more than 300,000 impressions of hashtag MSC Preziosa. We took also this occasion to launch our Instagram channels because a few weeks earlier we launched our new brand positioning. Thanks to this new channel, we could spread all the values that our new brand positioning had. We also worked with bloggers. What we did, we invited 3 official bloggers during the christening and during the first cruise of MSC Preziosa. A few weeks before, starting from February, we started to engage with these three official bloggers and with bloggers that each country has invited on board. During the christening, we invited bloggers to tweet, Facebooking, everything about the christening, and also during the first cruise of MSC Preziosa, the 3 official bloggers were starting to post pictures and videos about their first cruise. We select 3 different bloggers because each of them has a focus on a specific area that we were interested in. There was one that was more focused on spa wellness, another one for cruise and cabins, another one more for luxury. So that allowed us to cover all the areas that we were interested in. After the cruise, after 2 weeks of the cruise, bloggers keep on blogging, first of all, posting videos on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram. And since then, we started to engage with them and with their audience. At the same time, all the bloggers that were on board start to engage with our audience. And it helped us to reach more than 1 million people with AVE that was more than 800,000 euros. And thanks to working with bloggers and on social media channels, it helps us to increase the brand awareness of MSC Cruzs and, of course, the brand awareness of the christening of MSC Preziosa. Thank you.
And thank you, Valentino. And that does show the impact that an individual campaign can have, especially when promoted through social media. One of our other members, Thomson Cruzs, part of the TUI Corporation, also believes that the best success is found when focusing on the core principles of customer service: speed of response, accuracy of information, and treating customers as individuals. To ensure that they deliver this service, they have a social media centre and a service team that runs 24/7, 365 days a year, responding to all social media correspondence. They also found that key is socialising your workforce by utilising their knowledge and making sure that they are aware of how they can make a positive difference to service. We're now going to hear from Erin Johnson. Erin has worked in the cruise industry for almost 13 years, and I know that she doesn't look old enough at all. She currently oversees the marketing for Carnival Cruise Lines in the UK. So that's over to you, Erin. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Now, whilst this session is actually entitled, Is Cruz the Leader in Promoting New to Cruise? I'm actually here to challenge that thought a little bit, because this year we saw the launch of our Switch On Fun campaign, which actually wasn't focused on social media, it was focused on other marketing channels. So I just want to take you through that now and tell you how we're going to be evolving to involve social as we come into 2014. So as you know, in January 2013, this year, we launched our first ever TV campaign in the UK, Switch On Fun. And we really wanted to challenge the perception of cruising and to introduce those new to cruise customers to what is a fantastic holiday. And the plan was very much above and below the line. So TV with a little bit of digital display and then underlying PPC to make sure we were having the coverage across the time we were on TV and beyond. So the TV ad was a big creative idea. I haven't shown it here. I was under the impression that technology would fail, but obviously it wasn't going to. But anyway, we haven't got the ad to show. But we had a 60-second launch ad that played throughout January, and then 30-second cut-downs of that ad for encouraging families and also couples to choose cruise as their next holiday and consider a cruise. For the TV, we made sure that we had strong presence in the key channels, so ITV, Channel 4, Channel 5, and also on the key programming on the digital channels as well. And for our digital display, we wanted to make sure we were broad-reaching by using ad networks, as well as using Cruise Critic and cruise community sites to make sure we were really engaging those new to cruise people who were thinking about a cruise already. Our digital display had presence on all different sites, making sure that we were really considering those people who actually hadn't even thought about a cruise, but we were going to be fulfilling their holiday ideals. And then search really underpinned everything. It was on throughout the campaign, and we used branded and non-branded keywords to make sure we were catching those people who were searching and in their holiday consideration periods. But of course, we did use other media. We did ECRM. We made sure we tested different creative, as you can see here, families versus couples, using new lists, engaged lists, and then hopefully having those people sign up, of which we saw over 64% sign-ups from these email tests. And also with PR. Now, this is where social media comes in. This year we engaged with some blogger outreach and a social Facebook campaign to try and find Britain's funnest family. And as you can see here, they're the Alexanders. They were found using blogger outreach and Facebook. And you can go on our website at the moment and see their story and look at the questions that they answered to make them Britain's Funnest Family. But essentially what they have done is change the way, they're going to try and change the way people think about Cruzs. And this is where in a moment I'll talk a little bit about brand advocacy and how important that is in social terms. Because at the moment, I feel, although we have a Facebook page, it has over 13,500 fans that engage on a monthly basis. In the States, we have a very, very successful Facebook page where a post of a destination scene will get 47,000 likes. We really needed something and someone in the UK to act as brand ambassadors for us, and this is that family. They've recently just come back from the Carnival Sunshine. They're completely new to cruise, never been on a cruise before, usually holiday in France. They have their caravan, and really they have had their eyes opened, and we are hoping to be using them as brand advocates. Again, so here's our Facebook page and YouTube channel. YouTube we use to socialise our videos. We've got a series of videos coming up about Britain's Funnest Family, so look out for those. But we have a monthly guest post from John Heald, as most of you will know, is our senior cruise director, who has over 2 million Facebook fans. And we use it for just getting our social strategy out there. But first and foremost at the moment, it is that customer service channel. And as Adele said, and as TUI do, we use that and we make sure we monitor that on a 24/7 basis to make sure we are answering the questions that people are asking us. So moving into 2014, the way in which we use channels will be very different. Of course, Google and advertising, display advertising on certain sites will always have the KPI of sales, and that will continue. And that's marketing that will always be in our plan. But we're definitely going to be using our Facebook, Twitter, YouTube channels for advocacy and engagement and making sure those engagement rates stay high. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Erin. And Erin's shown us there just how a social media marketing campaign can work hand in hand and really enhance a current marketing campaign. Okay, we're now going to hear from the social media world in the shape of Dean Harvey, and he's the leader of development at Designate.
Hi, good afternoon. Good morning, even. I'm committing all the cardinal sins this morning. I'm using something that's non-PowerPoint. I'm using video. I'm using audio. I'm doing everything that you shouldn't do when you're on stage. So fingers crossed, it'll go all right today. Okay, so just a short video to start us off. Well, thank you for indulging me on that one. If you haven't already, if you've already seen that one before, my apologies. So, working for an ad agency, I'm not entirely sure I like the stat that only 14% of people trust advertising there, and that more and more people are trusting social media and what's said in peer-to-peer. But I want to bust a few myths this morning, if I can. The first one is one that I often hear in boardrooms, not just on behalf of our clients, but also on behalf of some of our potential clients, and that's my customers are not using social media. Well, according to Fanalyzer, there are 30 million users of Facebook in the UK. That's quite a lot of users. And some of you may remember this character, God rest his soul. This is Kenny Everett, trying to represent what he thought was the youth, or the youth. This is a character called Sid Snot. And so, looking at those Fanalyzer stats of Facebook, if we have a look at the age of the profile of people that are using Facebook, what we find is that over 62.5% of them are aged over 25 years old. So they're your potential customers, and that means there's over 18.5 million of them here just in the UK alone. So of social media, it's here to stay. It's not a fad. It's not going away. And one of the things that you and your industry really enjoy is the fact that travel is inherently social. People love to talk and reminisce and share and boast about their holidays, and it forms part of conversations. Here in the UK, if you're at a barber's getting your hair cut, it's where are you going on holiday? So it forms part of those everyday conversations, and in fact, social is that new word of mouth, as we saw in the video. A quick slide just to demonstrate a point here. Now, in the traditional old lovely days of marketing, where the brand was in control of what its messaging and what it had to say, the slide there, the diagram on the left, is showing that this is about brands that were just broadcasting and we as consumers were just receiving. Now, with the advent of social media, what that means is that we now have to earn those relationships through the use of social media, and we need to engage. And as brands, you need to be commenting and listening and putting out great content. So it's essentially a two-way dialogue now. The worm has turned and the power has now moved. The power is now with the consumer. And through social media, that's where all the trust lies as well. So consumers are empowered and brands need to engage, and that means that your relationships and your language and your expectations and all of those touch points of channels have all been turned on the head, and they have changed now. And transparency is here, whether we like it or not, and we need to be present in the conversations that are happening online. And why bother? Well, what's the prize? You know, travel, as I've mentioned, is very social, and cruising itself is very social. Cruzs specifically love to talk to people about, they talk to those that they've met on board and they book again. And so the opportunity for a cruising network particularly is to build groups of networks of friends. And it does appeal from the cradle to the grave. So cruisers will brag about where they've been, and once you've got them in on social and you're engaging, then I'd suggest you've got them for a long time and you can build on that. So the prize, we see it very much is the fact that you can truly own those relationships. Where social media will change moving forwards, we predict, is that at the moment we're sending out still broadcasting messages within a very one-on-one channel, and the way that we predict it will change is that you'll have to start personalising. As we saw from Ginger's video earlier, you know, starting to have your photo on that within that video. People like that. You know, people really engage with that. They feel as though they've got a one-to-one relationship with your brand. So through social, you can be that, you can own that relationship, you can be the go-to source of information, and ultimately, and this is what it's all about, obviously, is to inspire prospective new customers. So can it have commercial value? Well, we think so. If you believe in word of mouth, then social media is word of mouth on steroids. It does have some search marketing benefits as well. Google has changed its algorithm and consistently continues to change its algorithm. And one of the things that it's looking at within the update over the last 18 months is it's looking at a thing called social signals. So it's looking about how many fans you've got, how frequently you are communicating with those people within social channels. It's also looking at how quickly you're responding. Now, that's quite a worry as well. So if you're a big organisation with lots of inbound tweets, or you've got a really bad product and you've got lots of complaints and you're deciding to ignore them, Google won't like that. Google's measuring how quickly you're responding to. There are some rule sets around social media that I'd like to share with you today. There are only three, really, main ones that are coming up in a second. Obviously, you need to pick your channels. We heard from MSC, the channels that they have chosen this morning. And there's some criteria around your choice set. So is it an established channel? Are your customers or are your potential customers there? Are you doing this for customer service or are you doing this for marketing? So, pick your channels, because once you're there and once you've set up a platform and you've started to engage, you need to stay there. You can't just disappear. You can't start a party and then leave it. The other thing as well is that you should consider in social media, and I hear this a lot now, is what I hear about is social media marketing. You're trying to flog stuff to us. Now, you can be useful in social media throughout that customer journey. So a lot of social media marketing is done at that dreaming stage and that planning stage. Now, as far as I'm concerned, social media runs right the way through that engagement, from the dreaming and the planning right the way through to the booking, the anticipating. Again, we heard from Ginger earlier, the countdown to my Disney holiday. Fantastic use of social media in the anticipating stage, but also where I'm using social media most and where my kids are using it is when we're there, when we're traveling, photos of where we're at and when we're at the destination. And since I put this slide together, I would suggest that there's another part of this journey, which is once you're back at home. So after you've been to your destination, you had your holiday, you do a lot of sharing after that. So I'll amend that for the next time. You should also consider using social media outside of the customer as well. So just some quick examples of where social media is being used. It can improve your CRM system. It can be used for customer service, as I mentioned. Crowdsourcing and market research is an area that the automotive industry is very, very heavily engaged in. HR and recruitment. Be careful what you say on social, because the next agency that's coming along is looking at your LinkedIn profile and what you're saying on Facebook and what you've said in Twitter. You have a digital footprint. Be careful about your future employment, about what you say online. Quick show of hands, those of you that are still listening and that haven't sent to sleep. Who remembers this? Quick show of hands. Anyone remember that? I do. So I used to work for a tour operator, and all the reasons why I feel as though I'm able to stand here and talk to you. The MD of the tour operator had a whole bank of these, and the most important thing in the morning when we came in of a morning or after a weekend was to hit these things. This is an answering machine back in the day, and this was the life source. This was the blood of the travel business, the tour operating business. This is where our customers wanted to find out about our services or order brochures, and I'd suggest to you that social media is exactly that. So don't ignore it. These are your potential customers that are asking questions of you. It's the new call centre, as I like to call it as well. So another bit of advice, more of a philosophy. I think that what's interesting is that brands are struggling to cope with this sudden transparency of communication with their potential audience and their existing audience. And in order to earn attention online, because believe me, there's a lot of rubbish published online at the moment, this rush to get out there with content, is that brands almost need to behave like publishers. And what I mean by that is that all of your content that you produce needs to go through an editorial process. It needs to be planned. It needs to be relevant. This is a picture of the Telegraph office. And I show you this for one reason. This is about brands behaving like publishers. So this is a round circle in the middle of the room. That's where the editors sit. And like a star shape, each leg comes off. One's sport, one's current affairs, one's culture, one's fashion, and they all feed into the middle. And they set themselves up like that with that huge screen on top that's showing Sky News, Al Jazeera, following Twitter. This is a live news environment. And I'd suggest, in however big or small a way that you can with your brand, that you need to treat yourselves a bit like a newsroom and a news desk. Okay, nearly there, folks. In all of this, in becoming publishers, what you need is content. People are distracted online. There's a lot of rubbish out there, as I've said, and there's a lot of great content out there. Your job is to get your content found. And travel, as I've already said, is really rich in amazing content. So just some quick rule sets around what that content should be. The first one, this is one of three kind of rules. All of your content should go through these channels. The first one is try and be useful if you can. And here's a short movie. Look, content marketing is a really big issue, and it's become a bit of a buzzword over the last couple of years as well. And we've got way too little time here to go into the subject of content marketing, but just to give you an example that Ginger gave earlier, and that was the fanfare video, which is about being useful. You show my pictures, I can get more information from Goofy's Guide, I can win trips, I can get more information on the product, hell, I can even have my photo showed on the Facebook page. That's what useful content is about. That's what we're talking about with content marketing. And just to highlight some of the results from that campaign that we did with Disney, people love it. So I've highlighted some comments there about that fanfare campaign, and that's wow, 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 and now again. And another magical clip and love them. And Laura Stanley wants to jump into the videos. This is how emotional people get about this kind of content. And so you really need to think about creating great content. And so that's about being useful. My second point is about being authentic, and I wanted to show some screen grabs. This is from the Carnival Cruise Line's US page. What I mean by authentic, I don't mean win an iPad. You know, any fool can say win an iPad. What you'll get is a load of people who want to win an iPad and who are not really interested in your product. And what Carnival have done particularly well with Let's Make Your Moment Shine campaign is this is totally on brand. You can send in your videos and you can send in your pictures to them via Facebook, and it's all on topic. It's about food on board, celebrations, about family, it's about excursions and activities, and even romance on board as well. So that's what I mean by authentic. Make sure it's relevant to your product. And here's some of the examples of the content that's been posted to that campaign. And by the way, Carnival's fantastic with the number of likes on their main Facebook US page. You know, I think there's nearly 2 million people. You know, you put a picture of a cat up and you get something like 27,000 likes. You know, it's incredible. But even better, you put a picture of something that's relevant and authentic and on topic, then that engagement doubles, and that encourages people to share as well. So that's useful and that's authentic, and the last one is engaging. Make sure it's interesting, please. And another video for you now. Hopefully demonstrating about being really interesting and engaging online. Thank you for indulging me for showing that little piece of video. Now, this campaign won some awards from us. And the reason why it was interesting, and it wasn't about the giveaways on board, and it wasn't about the competition prizes. The original concept and creative idea was this. It was like a Dom Jolly or a hidden camera show, where we would jump out on people and surprise them, you know, maybe with a funny costume, maybe with a brass band. And the idea here wasn't the surprising them, it was the filming them and surprising them. And what this campaign consisted of was a sequence of 7 videos that went out via YouTube, all linked to via their social channels, and that's what people thought was interesting. It was people's reactions. It wasn't the iPads, it wasn't the Euros we were handing out on board, it wasn't the competition entries necessarily, it was the videos of human reaction. And that's what made people share these videos. So, to my final point, it was about being interesting online. So useful, authentic, and engaging. Just finally, to whistle through some clever uses of media, Twitter is currently gaining popularity. not just in terms of usage, but also with the media darlings as well. They are trying to monetize the service, and one of the ways that they're doing that is through the use of promoted tweets. Where this starts to get a bit clever with Twitter, though, is that you can advertise contextually. And what I mean by that, in the same way with pay-per-click, you can advertise on Google, you can target people who are searching for keywords. With Twitter, what you're going to be able to do is to contextually serve your ad to someone who's mentioned something about your holiday. So this example here being, this is Annie from Texas, and she's planning her annual family vacation in Mexico. Now, what Twitter can do is pull out the words vacation in Mexico, and when you start to use their advertising services, the next thing that Annie from Texas sees is an advert from you, with an offer from you. So there are some clever uses of media around there, and that, again, in 2014, I think will
For
become
18
more
to
popular.
29-year-old fashion-loving girls, getting ready to party is as important as the party itself. But with the explosion of media channels available, there's no single credible source of inspiration our girl can turn to. Instead, she consumes and discusses inspiration, advice, content at any time of day on any number of channels. The ASOS Christmas campaign needed to meet her needs by providing ways to engage, inspire and shop. To launch the Christmas collection, we collaborated with 3 surprising celebrities to create 3 visually immersive and shoppable music videos. A world-first one-tip pin it button also allowed viewers to pin their favourite scenes straight to Pinterest boards and win the product. Each celebrity shared details of what makes their best night ever, styling tips, beauty secrets, and even live advice via our world-first Google Hangout shop-along. To excite and entice our audience, we offered them ways to win their best night ever too. Fashion bingo on Facebook, like to win on Instagram, one tip pin it via the interactive videos, and tweet your fantasy, #bestnighthever. Finally, we wanted to give our girl ways to share her best night ever with her friends and even the world. Images of our audience were pulled in via a global party feed to celebrate their fashion and hero their big nights out. World first photo cover booth let them personalise their photos for their Facebook cover photo. By creating ways to inspire, engage and shop in preparation for their best night ever, the ASOS 2012 Christmas campaign reached out to 18 to 29-year-old fashion-loving girls everywhere. It matched the integrated way girls get ready to party with tailored content that excited them and drove them to ASOS for all their party season needs.
Part of my brief today was to show you some examples of outside of the travel industry where people are using, or brands are using social media really well. Well, I've only come up with the one example, and that's because it blew everything else out of the water, and that was this campaign from ASOS. Now, this campaign, Christmas campaign in 2012, generated over £5 million of additional sales just from one social media campaign. And so I would suggest, if you're looking at starting to get involved in social media, then look no further than the retail space, because social media in the retail space is social media on steroids at the moment. They are doing really well. We think we're doing well in travel, but have a look at the likes of ASOS and Next and any of the fashion brands online. They're absolutely killing social media at the minute as well. That just about wraps it up from me, but what I did want to show you from that ASOS campaign was just one of the ways in which they planned that out. If you look at all of those social media channels down the left-hand side there, they had an activity in every single channel. So whether it was a video or it was a pin it or it was a Facebook post, they absolutely blitzed social media with this campaign, and I'm led to believe it cost them no more than £60,000. Now, for that kind of money, that was an incredible reach to get the ROI of 5 million in additional sales. Thank you for listening. I do appreciate I went on a little bit longer than I meant to, but that's kind of me done. Thanks very much.
Well, thank you very much, Dean. And there are some very interesting facts there about social media. I particularly like the one in 5 divorces happen because of social media, hence why my husband is banned from Facebook. I think all of our speakers today has given us some really inspirational things to take away with us, to think about and to implement. And as our hour is drawing to a close, and I can see people queuing up outside for the next session, I'd just like to thank each one of our speakers for their interesting, insightful presentations today and given us all something to think about. So thank you very much, speakers. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank you for coming here this morning, and I hope that you found the last hour as informative and interesting as I have. I want to say thank you for coming. Enjoy the rest of the day here at World Travel Market. Goodbye.